Fear of failure is something we all experience. It comes when we try something new, when we take a risk, or when we step outside of what is familiar. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, what exactly is this fear? Where does it come from? In Buddhism, we understand that fear arises from attachment. We are attached to success, to approval, to the image of ourselves that we want others to see. When we fear failure, we are often not afraid of the failure itself, but of what it represents. We are afraid of losing status, respect, or a sense of control. We are afraid of looking foolish. But is this fear real, or is it something our mind creates? Think about a child learning to walk. They fall many times, but they do not stop trying. They do not see failure as something to fear. It is simply part of learning. But as we grow older, we start to believe that failure is something bad, something shameful. This belief does not come from reality. It comes from our thoughts, our conditioning, and our attachment to how things should be. In Buddhism, we often speak about impermanence. Everything in life is constantly changing. Success and failure are not fixed. They rise and fall like waves in the ocean. If we hold on too tightly to the idea of success, we suffer when it does not come. But when we let go of this attachment, failure loses its power to frighten us. Now take a moment and reflect. What is it that you truly fear? Is it the failure itself, or is it the judgment of others? Is it a real danger, or just an idea in your mind? If we can understand that fear is a creation of our own thoughts, we can begin to loosen its grip. Failure is not something to be feared. It is simply a step on the path. Like every other step, when we see it for what it really is, we can begin to move forward without hesitation. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the same path. Yet many people see it as a wall, something that stops them from moving forward. But what if we looked at it differently? Imagine you are walking on a mountain path. The road is uneven, and sometimes you slip. Sometimes you take the wrong turn. But does that mean you should stop walking? No. Each mistake helps you understand the path better. Every step, whether forward or backward, is part of the journey. In the same way, failure is not an end. It is not a sign that we should give up. It is simply an experience. When we fail, we learn. When we struggle, we grow. But if we fear failure, we miss these opportunities. We stay in our comfort zone, afraid to take risks. And in doing so, we stop ourselves from truly living. Many people think that success brings happiness. But is that always true? There are people who achieve great things, but still feel empty inside. There are others who face failure, but remain content. What is the difference? It is not the outcome, but the way they see it. If we see failure as a punishment, we suffer. But if we see it as a teacher, we become wiser. Every failure shows us something we did not know before. It teaches us patience, resilience, and humility. It reminds us that we are human. Ask yourself, when was the last time you failed at something? What did it teach you? Did it help you grow in some way? When we shift our perspective, failure stops being something to fear. It becomes part of our journey, just like success. Instead of fearing failure, embrace it. Let it guide you. Let it shape you. And most importantly, do not let it stop you from moving forward. Understanding fear and changing our perspective on failure are important steps. But how do we actually overcome the fear of failure in daily life? How do we move forward when doubt and hesitation hold us back? First, take small steps. Fear becomes overwhelming when we focus on the entire journey at once. Instead of worrying about the final outcome, focus on what you can do today. If you're afraid of speaking in public, start by speaking to a small group. If you fear starting a new project, begin with a simple action. Every small step weakens fear's hold on you. Second, accept that mistakes will happen. No matter how careful we are, we cannot avoid failure completely. If we wait for the perfect moment, we may never begin at all. Instead of trying to avoid mistakes, allow yourself to make them. When they happen, observe them without judgment. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Then move forward. Third, separate your self-worth from success. Many people believe that failing at something means they are not good enough. But you are not your failures. You are not your successes either. Who you are goes beyond these things. A flower does not stop being beautiful just because it loses some petals. In the same way, your value does not change because of one mistake or setback. Next, be aware of the stories you tell yourself. The mind often creates negative thoughts. What if I fail? What will people think? These thoughts feel real, but they are only ideas. When these thoughts appear, recognize them for what they are, just thoughts. You do not have to believe them. Instead, replace them with, I will try my best, or failure is part of learning. Finally, take action despite fear. Fear does not disappear before we take the first step. It fades as we keep moving forward. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act even when fear is present. The fear of failure will always try to hold you back. But when you see it clearly, when you stop running from it, you realize something powerful. Fear has no real substance. It is like a shadow. It seems large, but it cannot harm you. Once you understand this, you can step forward with confidence, knowing that failure is not the end. It is simply part of the path. Fear of failure is something we all experience, but it does not have to control us. When we look at it closely, we see that it is not as solid as it seems. It is just a thought, a passing cloud in the sky of the mind. Failure itself is not something to fear. It is simply part of the journey, part of growth, part of life. If you have ever felt held back by the fear of failure, know that you are not alone. But also know that you are capable of moving forward, one step at a time, at your own pace, in your own way. You do not have to be perfect. You do not have to know everything. You simply have to continue, with patience and an open heart. As we come to the end of this talk, I want to express my sincere gratitude. To those who have watched, listened, and reflected, thank you. Your time and presence mean more than words can say. To those who have shared kind thoughts in the comments, supported this channel with a like, a subscription, or even a super thanks, please know that your kindness is deeply appreciated. If today's message has resonated with you, I am grateful. May it bring even a small sense of peace or clarity. And if there is ever a moment when fear tries to stop you, I hope you remember this. Failure is not the enemy. It is a teacher, a guide, a step on the path. And that path continues, always. Thank you for being here. Take care, and may your journey be filled with wisdom and peace.